Let's get started. So my name is River. I'm the graduate assistant for ADP Center. Um, and yeah, if you have any questions, just write them in the chat box. So today we're going to talk about first the benefits of video production. Then we'll go over some camera basics, some planning, shooting, and editing tips. And yeah, that's our agenda for today. So first, why should I be using video? There's a couple reasons why. These are some quotes that I had gathered. So students and audience will be more engaged when you incorporate video into the classroom. That's Generation Z. Someone from Generation Z had said that. And then also an EdTech review said that there is a higher percentage of retaining visuals in the human brain than text or audio. So yeah, not everyone is an audio learner or can it's sometimes it reaches people in a different way when video is used instead of just regular techniques that are typically used. So why should I use video? Well, one, it's creative. So you can make it unique and you can make it very personal. And it also allows you to incorporate a higher level of cognitive abilities and kind of makes you think about things more abstractly. Two, you can retain information more efficiently. So again, instead of just mindlessly memorizing the content, you're actually genuinely grasping and learning what you are talking about because there's so many more layers to it. Next, you can utilize your linguistic skills. So not only do you use visual skills, but you also use reading, writing, speaking, and listening during the creation process. So it kind of incorporates all these different skills simultaneously. And lastly, you can collaborate with other people, which can in turn foster better communication skills. So those are all the benefits of video production. Now we're going to get into camera basics. So there's a couple different types of videos that you can create. First is movie trailer, next is PSA, documentary, news segment, and music video. And we're going to go over each one of them and kind of what they target or what their goal would be. So with a movie trailer, you can actually use this format to promote a short story or a novel. So this is a student film that I had just found on YouTube, and I'm just going to play like the first 30 seconds of it. So, it's a student film trailer. It doesn't have to be like the best quality um, movie trailer out there, but that's just one of the formats. Next is a PSA or a public service announcement. So these are a great tool to demonstrate both your creativity, but also your compassion. Sometimes the topics of PSAs can be pretty sensitive in nature, but it also brings really good light to things and a lot of awareness. So this is another one that I found.
70% of the Earth is covered with water, but only 2.5% of that water can be used.
On average, every household uses 350 gallons of water per day.
The demand for fresh water is increasing by 64 billion cubic meters.
So yeah, that's again a student made PSA. So
70%.
okay. Next is a news segment. News segments can bring important topics to light and spread information in a factual way. So this is another one. That's a school project that I had seen on YouTube.
HitSync News Report. NBI arrested 24 foreigners for cyber crime. Agents of National Bureau of Investigation.
So yeah, that's a new segment. And oops. And then documentary, which again, this kind of brings light to sensitive topics as well, but it does allow for um, interactions with the world while analyzing complex issues and how it, like things that impact society and its people. And also, it allows us to comment on reality along with document it and kind of just challenge some longstanding assumptions about the world. So, let me play this one really quick.
Alzheimer's is a disease of the brain. It just eats away at the brain, taking away the person's dignity and taking away.
So, oop. And lastly, it's a music video. These videos allow you to communicate your message, but also you can incorporate your creativity, and they can also be pretty fun. So yeah, those are all the different types of videos. I'm sure there's more out there, but those are the pretty basic ones that I found. And actually, there are three basic steps to creating any kind of video production. So the first one is going to be planning, then shooting and editing. If we really, really break it down and simplify it, it's just in three steps. So with number one, it's planning. So you might be asking yourself, well, where do I even begin? In order to begin, you want to start organizing your content, but first you want to start gathering your content. So kind of figuring out what you want to communicate, what the topic is going to be, and just brainstorm everything that you possibly can and laying it all out. So you want to write it all out, maybe even find a reference or an inspiration video that you might want to use as just any kind of inspiration. And also, you want to ask yourself questions. So, when you're creating a video, these are some things to think about. Well, one, what do you want it to look like? What if, like, someone who's watching this video, what kind of reaction will they have? Does the storyline make sense? How many shots will I need? And then it gets into more like technical questions. So, am I going to need actors? If so, how many? Where is this going to be shot? So those are all just a couple of sample questions that you might be wanting to start brainstorming in the beginning of the video production um, planning planning section. So another really good way to write everything out is by creating a storyboard. So a storyboard is a graphic representation of how your video will unfold. It can help you stay organized and kind of just map out exactly what you want your video to look like. And they actually have this visual storyboard on www.storyboardthat.com. And you can kind of visually see it. And you can list what your locations are going to be, what kind of shots you want to use, what dialogues there's going to be, are there going to be voiceovers? So this is a really good resource to kind of help you get started with that. In the next step, we're going to talk about shooting. So this is like, how do you even begin to shoot? Where do you start? So first, before everything else, you want to make sure that you have permission to shoot in the location that you choose. You want to be aware of any kind of copyrighted material in your videos. So any posters, any brandings, like if you use an Apple laptop, you want to make sure that the Apple logo is somehow covered because there could be some kind of copyright infringements. And then lastly, you want to make sure that everyone who's in the video, you want to make sure you have their consent, even the people in the background that happen to be walking by. And there are also three main ingredients into quality video production. So when you're shooting, you want to really pay attention to first lighting. You don't really need expensive lighting equipment. I mean, in the videos that I had just shown, you could tell that they weren't using like the highest of the high, the best equipment. You just want to make sure you're using bright spaces as best as possible. The outdoors is a great place to shoot, or even just shooting. If you're shooting indoors, you want to make sure to shoot near a window. You want to avoid heavily backlit areas. So you want to make sure that whatever the subject is in your video, you want to make sure the light is being directed towards them. Like in this graphic here, if this is a subject, you want to make sure that the light is being shined on them, because if it was the other way around, then there will be a shadow created. So you want to make sure that the subject is going to be, the light should be shining in the direction of what you are shooting. Next is audio. You want to avoid rooms that echo. You want to avoid the wind. If you're interviewing someone, it's best to be as close as possible to the person. And also just making sure that you're somehow setting yourself up to have the best audio possible. So again, you don't need all this equipment, but you want to make sure that your surroundings and um, everything is appropriate and is like will be able to produce the best audio possible. And then also you want to make sure to have a steady camera. So, um, if you're planning to create a Blair Witch style documentary, this might not be an issue for you, but like if you're holding a phone, your hand can be shaky. So it's best to prop it up. And you can also either prop it up leaning your phone or your camera against something, or you can use a tripod. Also, so since this is virtual video production, I wanted to incorporate Zoom. So if you don't necessarily have a camera, or if your phone isn't the best quality, you can actually use Zoom to record things. So if you pay attention to the bottom of whenever you create a Zoom meeting, at the bottom there's going to be this little record button, and that's where you would hit, and then it'll give you the option to either save to your computer or you can save to the cloud. So, and it'll automatically do this at the end of your meeting. And the cloud, so if you're using a Montclair State account, you can log into montclair.zoom.us and just sign in. And there's a little tab on the left side that says recordings, and that's where all of your recordings are stored in the tab. So you can actually download them. Sometimes it even gives you the option to separate the audio from the video. So there's a lot of different options there, but that's where you would find any kind of Zoom recording. Also, there's a couple of extra resources that the ADP Center offers. So if you're in the EdTPA program, we do offer kits with cameras, microphones, tripods, and then also we do have the digital media suites, which have pretty much everything that you would need to create a good quality video. So this is just a little tour.
To begin setting up your video, insert your drive into the USB port of the control panel. This will then turn on the reference monitor, which will show the camera's view. In addition, you can connect the available HDMI cord to your device to show any media on the display monitor. Each studio has one available mic pack that can be found inside the cabinet. After clipping on the lapel mic, attach the mic pack to your pocket and simply turn it on. The volume will already be preset. When you're ready to record, go to the wall panel to switch on the 2 studio lights to brighten up your video. Then switch them off after you're done to conserve power. This remote is used to control the camera that is mounted above the reference monitor. It'll move in the direction you want it to after selecting a command. The monitor will also show the camera's view from the direction you move it in. You can use it to help you properly frame your video.
So that is the digital media suite that's available at ADP Center. And if you have any questions, feel free to go in and just take a look at it. And we have student workers that are there at all times that will also be able to help you out in case you have any questions about the digital media suites. So next, I just want to go over a couple of different camera framing techniques. So we're just going to briefly go over them. So first would be the establishing shot. This kind of just establishes where the action or what the setting is, where everything is going to take place. Next would be the long shot, which is just a head to toe of everyone. Medium shot is from the top to the midsection. Then we have the close up. This woman, she's looking off to the right, and you never want to like have them dead center. Kind of want to give them space to the left or to the right, um, just as like a visual tip. And then there's the extreme close up. So it's okay to cut off the top of someone's head, but just be careful because you want to include the neck. This could be used in more like intimate or not intimate, but more special conversations or sensitive topics. Um, and then also there's an over the shoulder shot, and this is when we can see the portion of the person on the left, their back, but also medium shot of the person that's actually in focus. So it kind of gives you the feeling as if you're in the interview room with them as well. So orientation is really important. If you're filming with your phone, you want to always film in landscape mode. So that's to the side. So instead of vertically, it's more horizontal. Because even though filming in portrait can be fine for your viewing pleasure, if you don't want these bars, these black bars to come up, I highly recommend filming in landscape mode. These are just a couple of different camera hacks. Again, like I said, you don't need expensive equipment. You can always get creative and just do a quick Google search. There's a lot of these different hacks out there. But for example, if you don't have a tripod and you want to use your phone, this is a great way to kind of just prop your phone up. This kind of gives a foggy image and will give the focus to where it's clear here. I don't know what they use, maybe like shaving cream or some kind of lotion or something.
I think it's
Vaseline. Thank you. And then these glasses, like if you want to give the image of, you know, there being rain or something like that, you can use that. So there's a lot of different ways you can get creative. Okay, so lastly, we plan, we shot the video, now we have to edit it. So first thing, what I suggest to do is to do a file dump. So what you're going to do is take the video that you recorded and you want to put it into your computer or some kind of USB or a cloud-based storage and just put them all there. One, it frees up storage on your phone, but two, also, God forbid something happens to the videos, you know, you drop your phone, you lose it, or your phone just happens to break. You always want to make sure that they're backed up. And that's why I suggest a cloud-based storage because, you know, you can lose a flash drive. So with the cloud-based storage, you can sign on to it from any computer. And yeah, it's just a great way to back up the videos that you shot. And I recommend two different editing applications. First is iMovie. It's compatible with all Apple products. And then, so you can't use it if you have any kind of Droid products. But the second one, Adobe Premiere Rush, this is compatible with both Apple and Android. If you have any questions with the editing process, you can feel free to book with us on our website, and we would be more than happy to help you. Because editing can be pretty scary task. But here are just a couple of tips. So I suggest you first import your clips into the application. Then whichever one you ended up choosing. Then you can sort your clips in proper order and adjust the lengths of the clips. So first you want to see what order makes sense, you know, which videos I want to put first versus which videos I want to put after. You can worry about like all the details like special effects, sounds, voiceovers, you can worry about that later. Next, you want to watch your video straight through and ask yourself, does this story make sense? After you do that, you can then kind of add the details like titles, effects, any kind of color corrections, music. So that would be after you kind of make sure that your video makes sense. Then you want to go through your video and your clips and make sure that all of your audio is the audio levels are uniform. So if you're, you know, shooting outdoors and then indoors, it can kind of mess things up. So unless you're doing everything all in the same place, then, you know, you probably won't, you still want to make sure, but you're not going to pay too much attention to this because you shot everything in the same place. But for example, if you shot your part of your video outside and then you came inside, you want to make sure that those audio levels match so that it's fluid. And lastly, you want to watch the video again and you want to make sure everything is cohesive and that everything looks good and, add your finishing touches. So, I want to open it up and see if any of you guys have any questions. Is there anything that you would like me to elaborate more on or any questions?